Good afternoon and happy Friday, everybody. My name is Brian Billig, and I am excited to welcome you to our webinar for TrialWorks version 11. We've got a lot to cover, but first, some housekeeping. I have two webinar co-pilots with me today. Diane is a key member of the TrialWorks training team as our Director of Practice Transformation. She'll be collecting questions from you guys throughout the webinar. Once we get through the main content, then we'll tackle as many of those questions as we can at the end. So, you can submit the questions from the questions pane of the control panel, which is located on the right side of your screen. If your control panel has collapsed, which it will do if you're not clicking around on the screen for a while, look for the orange box with the white arrow and go ahead and click that to re-expand your control panel. Also with us is Patrice, who hardly needs an introduction. She pretty much knows TrialWorks better than any person on the planet. And since I'm actually the newest addition to the TrialWorks training team, she's here to be my safety net, making sure I'm getting all of this just right for you guys. And of course, rescue me if you hit me with any questions that are really tough. So I'm going to go ahead and shrink my control panel and open up my TrialWorks. And a quick check, Diane, is everything sharing okay? Does screen look all right?
It looks good on our end, yes.
Wonderful. All right, so let's get started. For veterans TrialWorks users, the transition from earlier versions of the program to version 11 is more about customizations, simplifications, and navigation than it is about the program itself. So, of course, we've added a bunch of cool new features like web-based client intakes, text messaging, the list goes on, but the most significant change users are going to see out of the gate has to do with the updated user interface. We believe the modifications we've made enhance the usability of TrialWorks, and that increases your efficiency, your productivity. So let's dive in with some of the aesthetic customizations you can make to personalize your display. The first thing I want to show you is the new TrialWorks tabs. The most obvious change is that the tabs can now be displayed in a variety of colors, mostly to emulate your old case folders, like green for correspondence, blue for pleadings, red for negotiations, etc. There's over 30 color options for versatility and a little personality. Now, one trick here, I'm going to show you how you change all of these colors. It's real easy. You click on this button over here and you go to Tab Colors. But you'll notice this is for the TrialWorks administrator only. I'm going to show you all kinds of cool stuff that the users can change, but this one particular customization, the admin sets up so that it is uniform across all the users at your firm. So let's go ahead and click that link, and then we've got our Add Remove Tabs option and our Tab Color options. Excuse me. This couldn't be simpler. These are all your tabs, and you literally click a drop down, and you choose a color. And it's that simple. Once you're done, you exit, and it's going to save, and then you've got all your colors. Now, you can choose to do this as kind of the rainbow like I have, or if you have specific tabs that you want to stand out, you can only do it for a small number of tabs, or half the tabs, or even group tabs of a particular category together in the same or similar colors, so you can easily find what you're looking for. All right? So, though that's for administrators only, the rest of what I'm going to show you, every user can build the way that they want to build their custom setup here. So let's talk about the order of the tabs. So everyone in your firm has a different role, which means they have to touch different areas of the program. There are different areas that are more or less important to them. So you can change the order of the tabs literally just by right-clicking on any tab. And you can move any in particular tab, left, right. You can move it to the front of the list. You can move it to the back of the list so that you stack the front of your screen with the stuff that's most important to you. And if there are tabs that honestly you just don't use, let's say I'm not using production tracker. So you right click on that and you hide the tab and it's gone. It's not going to bother you anymore. If you need to see it, you can right click on any tab and you'll have a list of your hidden tabs right here. So it's still accessible, but it's out of the way if it's something that you don't use on a regular basis. This button over here on the right-hand side is called the overflow button. And I'll explain why in a moment, but there's all kinds of customizations now in this overflow button. And I'm going to kind of run through them one at a time. The first is font size. So everybody has different monitors. Everybody has different resolutions they're comfortable with. Some people may have a whole bunch of tabs and a lot of data. So they like everything nice and small so that they can fit as much on the screen as humanly possible. And some of us may have smaller monitors, or like me, they might be getting a little older and they'd like to see the font size bumped up to be a little bit more legible. So you just click large and then suddenly everything is a little bit larger. You can go to extra large, but then that starts to eat up some of your screen real estate, but you have those options. Now you'll notice now that my tabs are bigger, now that the text within the tab is bigger, I can't fit as many of them on the row. So they fall onto this overflow button. That's why it's called the overflow button. So all the tabs that there wasn't space for fall here. So my research, subpoena, trial material, witness interview tabs, they're all right there. They're easily accessible with a click, but they fell off because I didn't have space for them. Again, keep in mind, if you want to go larger and you can't fit all those tabs on there, that's okay, because you can change the order and make sure that your most important ones are always displayed. And the less viewed or used tabs can fall off without too much of a problem. We got some other cool stuff here. Shape is just kind of fun. You can change the shape of the tabs. So you can go with the rounded, the more formal square, but I like the file tab. It's nostalgic. We also have theme. So if you don't like the colors, or you want them a little light, or you just want the gray, you can go with gray. And then when you click on a tab, you're going to have a big color pop for that particular tab, but then not the rest of them. So if your administrator gets a little carried away with the color choices, you can tone things down a bit on your end if you want. But I like the full color. And then we have these options down here: alternate row color and grid lines. Now, what these are really for are for the data sheets, the tabs that have layouts like this, the sort of Excel spreadsheet looking tabs. So what we can do to make these tabs easier to see, easier to interpret, we go to customize and we can alternate row color, and we can say gray, light gray, or the tab color, which I really like. So let's go with the tab color. And you'll notice that the tab color for correspondence is green. And now my colors are alternating. So I've got the white and then the green, the white, the green, the white, the green. So it's easier to recognize. And you'll notice at the bottom too, even the buttons with each tab are customized based on the color selected for that tab. So if I go to, let's see, what else might have some lists on here? Okay, so docket is orange. I've got my white, orange, white, orange, white, orange, and I've got my orange buttons at the bottom. But if you really want to kind of draw lines around these guys, make it a little bit clearer, we've got customized, we've got the grid lines as well, horizontal, vertical, or both. I like both. This is subtle. But you can see that now, there are lines between each of these items so that the items, the text of the boxes don't run together. And it's really nice and clean and clear to see exactly what's going on. All right. So that does it for the customizations associated with the overflow button here. Let's go up top. So these fields up here are the quick access fields. In older versions of TrialWorks, we provided you with a handful of these quick access fields, but over the years, many of you have requested more options, and you've got it. Now your individual displays can be personalized, choosing up to 12 key fields to appear on these rows. So the trick is, if we right-click on any of these field types, and we go down to Customize, it's going to give us a choice of 1, 2, 3, or 4 columns. And each column is going to have 3 rows of quick access fields in it. So you can decide how much space you want to take up, again, versus how much data you want to display. So let's compromise with 3, and we've got 3 sections here, lots of info. And if you aren't using the quick access fields, the basic concept is this is information that I want displayed while this case is open, regardless of which tab I'm on. So no matter what tab I'm on, I know who the judge in the case is, the file number, whether the case is open, the staff that's assigned to it, the stuff that you want to see at a glance. But now that you have all of these options for how many fields you want there, if we again right-click, you can change which quick access fields are displayed with a simple click. So you right-click on any of those fields, and these are all the different choices you have to utilize in that quick access field space. So you've got up to 12 options to choose any of these important items to display at all times, as long as the case is open. All right, we've got one more. To the left of the quick access area, just underneath the case name, you also have what we call the long note field. This is where you can add just one more additional field of quick access information, but a longer one. A judge, attorney, support staff, these are just names, or file numbers. This is simple information, but this is for bigger stuff. So if we click on this, we've got all kinds of options of what we want it to be. You know, it can be the last negotiation, the last note, a quick synopsis. You know, in my setup here, I've got it set as case facts. And the nice thing is we can hover over this field, and it's going to display up to 250 characters of what's there. So if you want to put the basic case facts or the case synopsis field in that long note field, then you've got that information there. Now, just to be clear, these quick access fields are displaying the information. It can't be modified or changed here. It's displaying the information, the data that's located in one of these tabs. So whatever it is that you choose, it's pulling the information out of, you know, that client tab and displaying it up here. So if you ever need to make a modification to any of the data stored in here, then go find where that is stored on the appropriate tab, and then this will always remain properly up to date. A couple of cool things while we're up here that, you know, some users might not be aware of. Now that we have so many possible fields up here, you see this bar separating the name of the case from the quick access fields. It's got 2 subtle little arrows on the right and the left, and you can click those arrows to expand the case name or go the other way and give yourself more room for the quick access field. So if you really want to cram all 12 quick access fields in there, have access to all that data, you can expand things out a little bit. And a neat little tip to the left here of the case name, you see these 2 arrows? These are forward and back buttons for the case. So if I'm bouncing from case to case, I can hit back to go to the previous case that I was working on, and I can go forward to go back to that case that I was just on. And just like your browser, you can right-click on these arrows. Well, I don't have a lot of fun cases open here, so let's just open a bunch of them real quick. And that one, and then I right-click here, and I'm going to have a list of the previous cases that I had open. So let's go back to our Phillips case. It's just some neat ways to customize the screen and know where you are and get back and forth fairly easily. So let's move on to our next category, simplifications. Just in case you don't notice them off the bat, I want to take a look at some of the subtle changes, the simplifications that we've made to make TrialWorks work better and easier for you. So we've hidden a little gem inside this magnifying glass right here. When you click on it, you get the familiar, you know, empty field where you can simply enter the name of the case that you're looking for. Or you can click on Advanced Search. And look at all these options. You can search for the case based on the date of accident, the index number, or even the property address. There's over a dozen choices here to find the case that you need, including the case name, the file number, the DOA, the accident number. I mean, you can see all of these options. So you've got all kinds of cool search functionality, or all of them simultaneously. Now, given all those options and all that opportunity, I'm going to be boring, and I'm just going to search for the name Bob. Now, notice that the case search window can also be expanded. So if you want to take up more space here, see more data, you can make it bigger or smaller with this arrow in the top right corner. And let's open up our real estate case. So if we open this, it's going to go straight to our case. And then we hit that back button. And it's going to take us right back to the case that we were in. Easy stuff. Now, in previous versions, when searching for a name in the address book, you could only search by the Save As field, which is boring and limiting. So let's open up our new address book here. And now you can type in the name that you're searching for, and all the cases where that name is displayed, where that name exists, will be displayed. So let's go ahead and just do something really open and search for the letter A. And it's going to find all of the A's. If it's in the Save As, if it's in the type, if it's in the first name, last name, everything. And if it's a number, you're checking work numbers, home numbers, fax numbers, cell numbers, social security, address, even email address. And what you can do is, once you do your search, if you did a really open search like I did, and you get all kinds of results, this top bar here is a filter bar, which you can then use to filter down to find more of what you're looking for. So let's say I just searched for A, but I know the last name is really ABR, and suddenly that list instantly parses through the results and only displays what it is I need. So while we're here, let's go ahead and open up Alan Abraham. And this is our contact detail window. But we've made some improvements here as well, basically allowing you to store more information. Let's open this up a little bit bigger. All right, so I'm going to go tab by tab. There's a lot of cool stuff here, but we're going to start with the contact tab. So first, we've got this contacts type dropdown, which you're familiar with. If you have a contact in the database, they should have a contact type, so you know what their role is. But now you have the ability to designate a global contact type as well as a case-specific contact type. So some firms will only use the global contact type, and that's fine. But when you have the occasion to have a contact with another role in a subsequent case, it becomes simple to designate that particular role for that particular case. So let's say Alan Abraham is an expert witness for us, but in one particular case, let's click our drop down here so we can see all our options. I like doctor. He's a doctor. And most of the time, he's just an expert witness. But in a particular case, we can make him a doctor. So he'll be an expert witness across our database. And in one specific case, he's serving the function of a doctor. And you've got that checkbox to differentiate between the two. All right. A couple of other cool things. You'll notice I've got my address here. Let's delete that. But I don't have my city and state. And if you are a data entry guru and you're typing the stuff in real fast and it's your job to enter in the new contacts, when you tab from address, if you're type, tab next field, it's not going to go to city. It's not going to go to state. It's going to go straight to zip code. And the reason is, if you fill in that zip code, it's going to automatically populate the city, state, and county for you. So it's a little thing, but for those data entry folks, we're just removing 3 fields, handling it automatically, so things move a little bit faster for you. We've added a direct dial option over here for the contact preview. We've added some more options to the prefix and suffix dropdown. And we've got the Save As dropdown here. So now when you save a contact, you can save them by last name, first name, first name, last name, the name of their company and their name, or their name as well as the name of their company. Now, keep in mind, that helps you keep things organized, but you don't have to worry so much about the save as anymore, because like I showed you, those search options are going to search all the fields regardless if you choose to do so. So you've got these choices here to keep things organized, but you don't have to worry about it too much either. All right, let's run through these additional tabs that we've got up here, starting with the additional tab. This tab allows you to store multiple phone numbers and addresses. You can use labels. Let me expand this here real quick to distinguish between work addresses and home addresses. And we also have this new experts section where you can store multiple documents like CVs, jury verdict reports, transcripts, breakdowns, so that you can associate these documents specifically with this contact and don't have to go searching for this stuff. It's right here in the actual contact detail window as well. Now, take a note of these little green plus signs. That's where you can add more information. We're going to talk about the plus signs in a little bit, but basically every one of these screens that has this makes it very easy for you to add data right on that screen. All right, let's move on to cases. This is kind of cool. The Cases tab displays all of the cases that this particular contact is associated with. So even if you're opening it up from a particular case, you can see all the different cases that you have worked with Alan Abraham on and can jump to any of those. We've got the Communications tab, which is basically a list of all the correspondence, calls, emails, depositions, medical or subpoenas communicated with this contact. So every time you talk to him, every time you enter a call log or whatever it is that you do, you've got a running record of all of that communication, again, regardless of any individual case. And then we've got the History tab, which just lists all the historical versions of this contact. So, you know, people move, things change. Sometimes there are data entry mistakes. So what you can do is actually go back to the previous contact entries and check and make sure, like, if something's wrong or you can't reach him or you know there was something there previously and you want to go looking for it, you can find it. Now, on any of these windows, don't miss these buttons at the bottom. There's lots of really cool functionality here right at your fingertips. So in the contact detail window, we've got add to Outlook, which is real simple. It literally takes this contact and adds it to your Outlook contacts. So it's available over there as well. You can add a call log entry right from the contact itself. So if you're opening up the contact in order to give them a call, you don't need to then switch windows and go someplace else to open up a call log. And you've got copy to clipboard, which has got two cool options here. We can copy just the address block or the entire contact, all of the information, to paste that into a Word document or another type of file that you need to send someplace. And speaking of, you can email and you can export. And the export is kind of cool. Basically, you can export this particular data window or sheet as Excel, PDF, or Word. So if you need to take a copy of all the communications that you have with a particular client or all the cases that you have with a particular client and send that information to someone for any purpose you deem fit, you've got those choices. All right, let's close this stuff up. I'm going to take a breath for a moment here and just remind you, you've got your questions pane on the right. So as you think of them, go ahead and submit those questions. Diane is there and ready to receive. I'm going to try and keep this whole thing to 45 minutes. So we're moving a bit fast, but I want to save as much time as possible for the questions at the end. So feel free to submit a question. Feel free to submit multiple questions. If we get the same question from multiple parties, she's going to make sure that she puts that at the top of the list for us at the end. So again, question panel on the right-hand side of your screen. If it's missing, look for that orange button with the white arrow, and that's going to give you your option to ask us some questions. All right, let's go to a document generation tab. Let's use a deposition. The detail window on each document generation tab has been widened to give you more real estate. So let's go ahead and open this up. They only give me one, so I couldn't mess it up too bad. And here's our deposition detail window. And just notice the detail window itself also color-coded to match the tab. So once your administrator makes the decision regarding these colors, it's going to follow you throughout the whole program. You're going to see the tab colors, obviously, the detail windows colors, the buttons on the tab, the buttons in the detail windows, so that once you get accustomed to deposition being blue, you'll know you're looking at a blue screen. This is deposition. It's going to be second nature. For added simplification here on the deposition and the document generation screens, you can now easily see more links attached to a particular document. And you can even bypass file it by using this add button right here to import attachments. And down here, this extra info, this is actually clickable. This is kind of cool. So you click extra info, and it's going to give you another drop down. It's basically a self-building extra info field where you can add your own individual delivery options. So you'll use this option to add tracking information for UPS, FedEx, whatever. So when you send the information, you've got the tracking info right here. So kind of neat. All right, let's close that up. In keeping with our discussion about how TrialWorks has been simplified, let's review some of the changes to how we handle phone calls. So I'm going to check over here. In the past, the call log only listed previous calls for a single case. Well, we've moved that list from the call log to a centralized way to manage incoming and outgoing calls right up here from the home ribbon. So welcome to the calls manager. Pardon. In the calls manager, the calls are displayed for any case, for any user, shown in time frames set by you. So we've got these drop downs here. We'll go with that. And you'll see from the case that I was in, it opened that up. But if I click this drop down, I've got all my cases, and I can click all, and then I can choose staff members, time frames, but I've got all the information here. I've got all my calls in one place. You can change the size of this window. So again, if you want to see more info, you have the ability to do that. But this window also actually exists outside the TrialWorks program. So basically what that means is this can stay open, and I can go back to work in TrialWorks and do whatever I want, leaving this open. So if you are, it doesn't demonstrate as well via WebEx, but if you're rocking multiple monitors at your office, and if you're not, I strongly recommend it. It's great to have 2, even 3 screens on your desk so that you can have TrialWorks open in one, your Outlook and email open another. So you've got workspace to work with. So you can take that calls manager and you can park it on the other monitor, so you always have a list of the calls and can open up different cases, continue to work, enter data, do whatever you need to do in TrialWorks outside this window. We've also made some improvements to the call log itself. So let's go ahead and open one of these up for a call log. In addition to a sleeker, fancier new look, there is now a completed checkbox, enabling you to kind of finalize this call entry. So like the call manager, the call log itself can also remain open. So I can move this over here. I can move this over here. I can go back to TrialWorks and continue to do things. I can even launch multiple call logs simultaneously. So I've got this one, I've got that one. So if you've got the screen real estate and honestly can keep it mentally straight, you've got options here to work on, multiple things, handle multiple callers simultaneously. If someone calls in and you're wrapping up with someone else, you can keep that open. So you make sure you punch in your notes before you close things out. All right, so let's close these up. Bear with me for one moment. I'm going to take a sip of my beverage here. All right. Timekeeping has been similarly redesigned, moving the time entries list from the time entry form to the timekeeper manager. So let's open that up, and you'll notice it's very similar, similar concept. But now all your time entries, not only for the case you're working on, but for all of your cases, can be displayed as well. You can generate a new timekeeper entry from this window. So we click the plus sign. It is going to default to the case that we're working on, but it doesn't have to be. You can be working on that case and then jump to something else if appropriate. All right. And you can rock multiple timekeeper entries as well so that you can bounce back and forth. All right. Let's close all this up. I told you guys that we were going to be coming back to the green plus sign. So let's dive into that. We've talked about the customizations and the simplifications. Let's talk about navigation. So the most obvious new button addition in TrialWorks version 11 is this big green plus sign, which is not at all ironically named the new button. So whenever you see that, we've got this big one up here, but you'll see little ones throughout the program as well. Basically, that's your ability to add something. This iconic symbol provides you with the ability to access 10 different functions with just one click. So let's run down the list. We can create a new call log, a new chat window, a new docket entry, a new email or fax, a new mailing wizard, a new note, a new time entry, open a new case with the new case wizard, or open a new intake from the client intake. So whenever you need to create something new, the new button is the tool to accomplish that task. So notice you can also now perform these tasks in multiple different cases, regardless of the current case that you're working on. You guys seeing a theme? For example, let's say you're updating the insurance tab in the Phillips case, but you receive a call from someone in the Parker case. So no problem. We're going to go up to the home ribbon. We're going to go to the new button, and then we're going to go down to call. And we'll get our call pop up. And it's going to give us the Phillips case if that's where we want to start. But we don't want the Phillips case. We want the Parker case. So we switch it right there. And then we can enter all our call log information, and we're ready to rock. It's that easy. So let's run through some of these options. We've already got the call log open, and as we touched on earlier, we've improved the call log with these updated features like completed and being able to open up multiple ones for those of us that like to multitask and have, you know, half a dozen different windows open at one time. Don't forget the buttons at the bottom. There's always cool stuff here. So you can email the information on the call. You can make a timekeeper entry right here, or as you're entering all the call information, as you're entering the notes, you just click send to notes. And then a log of all that information is sent to the notes tab of that particular case. So kind of neat. Let's go to a new chat window. So something to keep in mind here, it's real simple. We've moved the internal chat capabilities from what used to be on the ribbon bar to the new button, so you can easily create a new chat quickly from that drop-down menu. But check this out. Instead of login names, we've got real names for the user. So if you've got a lot of users and your login user codes can be a little obtuse, you've got the actual user names. Now, we get this question all the time, so I just kind of want to cover this while we're here. The people displayed in this list are the people that are logged into the system. It's not all the users that are in the database. It's only the users that are currently logged in and able to receive these chat messages from you. So in my little database, I'm the only one that's logged in right now, so I'm the only option. So if you log in the middle of the day, you'll see a whole bunch of options. If you're a night owl and you're working at 2 in the morning and you go to send a chat, you're probably not going to see many people on this list, and that's why. All right. Next on the list is schedule a new docket entry. We've said it before, but it bears repeating. The navigation changes to TrialWorks are really game changing. They're really cool. So now you can create a new docket entry from the new button without having to leave the case you're currently working on. So you can schedule appointments or deadlines in any case and then go right back to work. And oh my God, Brian, I know you're harping on the color, but notice docket tab, docket tab. So whatever those color selections you make, they're going to follow you all over the program. While we're here with the docket tab, I want to show you something kind of neat. With the date, so we've got the date here, but if we click on that field, you get the little calendar, and you can calculate a due date item from the docket. So you can obviously pick it from the calendar, but we've also got these auto days, and this is a drop-down field with all these options. So let's say I need a 30-day out. It's going to calculate from today, April 20th, 30 days out is going to be Friday, May 18th. And we can select business days only. It's going to push it out a little bit further to June 1st, or just a straight 30-day count. And these can be pre-populated by you. So we choose, we're providing some of the basics, but there is the option to customize these. Or let's say the amount of days that you want to go out. Let's say I don't have a 45-day here. If you want, just type 45 days. That's it. You just type the number, and again, it's going to calculate it for you. So 45 days out from April 20th will be Monday, June 4th. And you just say, okay, and it's going to drop that in for you. Save you time, keep it simple. All right, that'll do it for docket. Let's go to launch a new email. You can send any contact an email from any email field anywhere in the program with just a single click. It's easy. But by using the Home New button, again, you can email multiple documents or email or serve all the attorneys on the service list at once. So some cool functionality here to make it simpler to communicate with multiple parties. You can also send faxes straight from this new button. And what's kind of neat here is that now you can use any digital fax service you like. All you need to do is go to the fax domain up in the global settings, and then it'll automatically format the recipient's fax number using your chosen service. So that's easy as well. We can design a new mailing wizard. You can generate documents from cases or from the dashboard, and the mailing wizard simplifies the process for generating and sending the same document to multiple people. So there's lots of great uses for this, like sending out holiday cards or requesting medical records from multiple providers. So it's a great mass communication tool. We can create a new note. You can generate a note for any case, again, regardless of the one you're currently working on. So all you have to do is choose your case, give it a status, select a category, type away. If you have documents that you want to attach to your note, simply click the Add button to import the document. And as always, you can create a TW docket entry or generate an email directly from the note. Trying to keep it simple, trying to avoid, duplicate work, duplicate data entry, make your lives easier. That's our goal. That's our mission. We can create a new time entry. Quickly generating time entries has been simplified with the ease of accessibility from this new button. And like we mentioned before, you can open up multiple time entries and work on all of them simultaneously. So if you don't have that second monitor, go get that second monitor because now TrialWorks can kind of spread all over your desktop and you can handle multiple things at once. We can open a new case from the new case wizard. We've moved that wizard wand that used to be in the upper right corner of the program to display it more prominently here on the new button. Make it easy. So from here, you can launch the new case wizard and open a new case in TrialWorks. Or similarly, you can launch a new client intake from the new button and begin to generate a new entry for a potential client. The client intake module will be the subject of a more extensive webinar because there is some just amazing functionality there that deserves a lesson all its own. So keep an eye on our events in the future because we're going to be doing one specifically for intake because it is such an important part of what's happening in the law firm. All right, time check. Oh, man. Okay, all right. Okay, we've saved the best for last. Text messaging directly from your system is now available in TrialWorks version 11. So let's go to our contacts tab. And anywhere in the program where there's a cell phone number, you can right click and you got all your standard right click options, but you've got this send message choice right here. Or if you like, you can go to current case and then you've got your quick contact info fields. So let's click our drop down and we can call the person or we can send them a message and you simply click right there and it's going to open up a text message window for you. Now, a couple things to be aware of here. First, usually text messages don't have subjects. And when you send a text message, the person you're sending it to isn't going to see the subject, but this is still a database. You still want to keep a record of all your communication and you want to be able to report on it. You want to be able to organize it, file it. So enter a subject. Okay, we'll just go with case update so that when you're looking back through your communication, you have an idea of what's going on. Then we've got this great quick fill dropdown. And you can customize these, but basically if you're sending the same type of text message over and over and over again, well, there's no reason to type that over and over and over again. So you put it in this directory and then you have these options. So let's just say, please call me at your earliest convenience. It drops it in automatically. You click send and off it goes. Now, what's neat is included in TrialWorks maintenance, this feature is giving you access to our TrialWorks SMS service. So messages no longer have to be sent from your personal cell phone. You don't have to give those numbers out anymore. Messages are automatically filed when sent on the TrialWorks email tab. So let's close this. And replies will appear in your user's Outlook inbox. So you send the text message out, and if they write you something back, you're going to get it as an email. You don't have to have like the firm cell phone that people are passing around or trying to keep track of. Okay, let's see. I got to jump to the end here because I got to get to your questions. So one cool thing here, when it's filed on the email tab, you've got these new filter options up here in the top right corner. So if I want to see only my emails, I click email, and then I'm only seeing my emails. If I only want to see my text messages, I click that SMS button, and then I'm looking at all the text messages I've sent out. And you can see I'm boring because I always send the exact same text message. All right, so we are at 2:43. I apologize. I tried to go quickly, but I want to get to a bunch of your questions. So we'll start now, and maybe we'll go a little bit long, but if anybody has to drop off, please feel free to do so. And we're going to get to as many of these questions as we can. If you've asked a question or if we get a question a lot and we don't get to it, don't worry. Our dedicated team has a record of all of these questions, and we're going to try and reach out to you individually to answer anything that we didn't get a chance to get to. All right, Diane, how do we do on questions?
Well, Brian, we do have a lot of questions. First one is, I like to see the pleadings tab next to the correspondence tab without having to move it each time. Is there a way to organize the tabs in a way that makes sense to each user?
Yes, absolutely. The navigation that I showed you before, the move right, the move left, that is user defined. So that is saved for you as an individual user. So you can set up your tabs however you want, and when you come back, they're going to be where you left them. The administrator is going to choose the colors for you, but the location is up to you as a user. So go nuts.
Ready for the next question?
Yeah, that was easy. Are they all that easy, or am I in trouble? You got a tough one?
Well, I don't think you're in trouble, but I think we might throw this one to Patrice. The next question is, are there any charges for sending text messages?
You're right. I'm going to let Patrice answer that.
No, currently text messaging is included as part of everyone's support and maintenance. So as long as you maintain that contract per year, you absolutely will have free of charge the SMS textability.
Thank you.
Okay,
right.
We're ready for the next question. The next question is, can I make all of my tabs one color?
Okay, well, I'm going to say the terrible "it depends" to begin with. It depends if you're the administrator. If you're the administrator, yeah, if you want to do that, you can make all the tabs green. You can make all the tabs blue. That's the administrator's choice. Now, if you as the user, like I showed you before, you do have the option to make all the tabs one color as long as that color is gray. So it's an old Henry Ford joke. You can have a Model T in any color you want as long as it's black. So you can take the color away, or the administrator can make all the tabs one color, every different color, spread it out among 3. You can do whatever you like.
We seem to have a lot of questions regarding text messaging, which coincidentally was today's tip of the week. But I am going to read the next one. Brian, if you can just answer this.
Go for it.
Regarding text messaging, do you have to create a new text if you want to reply to an incoming text to Outlook, or can you reply through your Outlook email?
You know what? I'm going to... I believe you can reply to that email, but I'd like Patrice or Diane to confirm that for me, because once it's in the system, I think it's recognized.
And that is the case, Brian. It is absolutely. Good. Once your recipient has actually replied back to you on the text, you can go directly to Outlook. That's where you're going to see their text message come in. It's going to be as a email. And so as long as you just reply on that same email, then you're getting that same conversation going.
And as far as your client is concerned, they're just texting back and forth. It doesn't look any different on their end as if they were texting someone, specifically with a cell phone.
That's right.
All right, what do you say? It's 2:48. Let's get 2 more questions in, and then we'll let everybody get back to their Friday afternoon, because I imagine the work is piling up over the last hour.
Okay, the next question is, does a caller have to be a contact in order to use the call log?
Oh, absolutely not. So it is easier. So let's go to new and call. So we've got options here. We've got the case info, and we can obviously bring in callers from all over the program. But if they're not in the system, yeah, you can punch in new information right here. But I'd caution you to be careful. You want to make sure they're not in the system. So search a couple different ways. If it's a name that could be spelled different ways, check and make sure they're not in the system. Because if everyone just starts typing in the name and saving them as new every time they get a call, the database is going to be filled with duplicate entries. And this is still a database, and duplicate entries are like the slow death of 1,000 cuts of any database system. So you want to keep your database clean and tight so that if you want to go see all the notes or all the logs associated with a particular party, that they're all there and not spread out through 8 different entries and 4 different spellings. So by all means, you can just punch somebody in, but just be careful to make sure they're not already in the system as well. All right, what's our last
one more question?
Yeah.
All right, this will be the last one. How do you update the drop downs in auto days?
That's a good question. It's good enough that I actually had to put a note here. All right, so we're gonna have to go to our settings. Let's go to settings, and I believe it's docket, right? So it's in our docket settings, auto days. There we go. So right here, and here's our list. and then we can add additional ones. So it's a really cool feature. You can put in anything you want as a description and any day count that you want. And then when you go to click that calendar item, this is what will display in that dropdown, so that all the users that come behind you, it's very simple. They click it off of a list and no one has to do any calculation. All right. Guys, I apologize that we went over time, but thank you so much. I'm sure everyone is busy, and to carve this much time out of your Friday afternoon, we really appreciate it. I hope that you found the webinar helpful. We're really proud of TrialWorks version 11. The whole team just did a wonderful job, and we hope you're enjoying the functionality. There's more to learn. So we've got these webinars. We're astounded by the demand. So we're going to be doing this more and more regularly on a variety of topics. We're already working on webinars for, like I mentioned, the web-based client intake, but also the TrialWorks mobile app, TW Search, the dashboard subscriptions, more and more. So get really familiar with our website. Part of my job is going to be building more materials and more content for you there. And that includes the events section of the website. So the events section shows all the different like conferences and networking events that our sales team go to, but it's also going to have a list of all of our online learning opportunities. So keep an eye out there. That's where the list and schedule and registration links are always going to be. And again, thank you so much for your time. Enjoy TrialWorks 11 and have a wonderful weekend, everybody.